Good afternoon, it's great to be here. I'm Thomas from Twikit, and I'm joined here today by Christopher from Dear Digital, a Odoo partner. And I can speak for the both of us that we're very excited to be here and present today the result of a joint development that we did in the past couple of months, bringing a new plugin into Odoo, which is a complex and advanced 3D product configuration plugin straight into the Odoo space. A quick note on Twikit. So Twikit is a B2B software as a service company based in Belgium. And what we do is we have a cloud-based software engine bridging customer experiences. So think advanced 3D configurator experience in a storefront or in a point of sales application, all the way to order and manufacturing. And our software engine is a cloud-based software engine, and we're industry agnostic. And today we're supporting leading brands in the automotive industry, in the construction and windows interior, and all other industries as well. Where we support them, we're really bringing a advanced CPQ digitized workflow with a 3D visualization layer on top of it. What makes us different? Well, first of all, speed to market. So Twikit has a low-code software engine that enables to accelerate the setup, the maintenance, and the deployment of 3D product configurators. And next to that, we have a very open API structure that allows to really have a straightforward integration in existing web environments, such as the Odoo space. Second, hyper-personalization. So our software engine goes beyond color options. We have a 3D kernel that allows to do geometry changes in a configurator. So think of width, height, length, thicknesses, and much more. And importantly, also backed by complex configurator logic to make sure that every configuration that is being created in that configurator is also 100% producible. And last, we also connect our software engine to order and production. That means that for every unique configuration created or ordered, we can automatically generate production files. So think of CNC milling files, laser cutting files, engraving files, 3D printing files, digital printing files, and much more. And today we're very excited to be here with our brand new plugin for Odoo, which actually brings advanced, complex 3D product configuration into Odoo. That goes beyond the functionality of product variants, what we have today in the Odoo space. And the goal of the plugin is really transforming complex product configuration into a visual and error-free experience in storefront flows, but also in quotation flows within the Odoo space. And of course, in the backend linked to business apps such as the order and manufacturing workflows. And how does it work? Well, we actually combine the best of both worlds. So the setup and maintenance of a configurator is still happening in the Twikit cloud software. From the moment the configurator is finished and ready to be published within Odoo, we use the Twikit native plugin in Odoo to make the connection between the Twikit software and the Odoo backend. And then within Odoo, you make the configurators available in the storefront flow or in the quotation flow, and of course in the backend link it to the order and manufacturing workflows itself. Let's make it very tangible. So we have a live demo that me and Christopher will share. If you have any questions in the meantime, please scan the QR code, and we will try to address as many questions as possible during the Q&A afterwards. So let's dive right into it. Let me go into the Twikit platform. So Twikit platform is a cloud-based platform. It's called Twikbot 5. And this is where you set up your configurators, maintain your configurators, and also link to the Odoo space. So imagine you're a furniture brand. You have a product line of configurable tables, configurable chairs. And within the Twikbot 5, you actually set up and maintain the blueprint for configuration. So for example, a dinner table. It typically starts off with 3D data of your product line, and also the configurator logic that you have stored within an Excel or a Google Sheet. And within our native graph editor, this is actually where you define the configurator. What are the possibilities and limitations? And this configurator is typically set up by, it can be a Twikit team, it can be a partner of Twikit, or if you have 3D engineers in-house, we can of course also allow them to set it up themselves through our self-service model. And once the configurator is set up, and you want to publish it to your Odoo environment, you go to Projects. And Projects is actually a bundle of configurators. It can be a product line, it can be also geographical location, let's say you have a Europe store, you have a USA store, and the configuration options are slightly different based on customer behavior or customer trends. So within a project, you have actually a bundle of configurators that you want to make available in your Odoo space. So you add the configurators to your project, and afterwards you publish. And by publishing, you make the link with the Odoo space. So two elements that are very relevant to make that connection is the JavaScript URL and the product ID corresponding to that specific product configurator. From that moment on, you go to the Odoo space, and happy to give the word to Christopher, who will show how it all comes together in the Odoo environment.
And I actually will make it quite a bit larger. So now we have a large and dark table that we can actually confirm and add to the sale order. So a handy thing is, just for easy understanding of what is being ordered, we also have a human readable configuration description that's added on the sale order. And this is enough for us to understand what we're trying to sell. But obviously for a customer, this is a little bit vague. So an extra addition to the logic is if we actually send this quotation to the customer through the typical send by email flow, right? Which is typical in Odoo, we will actually get a link to the portal preview of that order, something that we can easily show you guys as well. And that brings us to this specific page. So this is the point of view of a typical customer, where they would see all the other order details and the extra addition for viewing the configuration on the website. So a customer could quite easily click on this and get a read-only pop-up of that very specific configuration that we're trying to sell them. And the customer can look at it, maybe change their mind or reply on the portal that they might need a different color or call us back. And that's quite easy to manage. If we go back to the backend at that very same sale order, that's a quotation state now, we can open it up again and maybe make the table much lighter, if that's maybe more interesting for the customer. Save it as well. And in real time, the customer will actually see the difference in their configuration, not only in the text description, but also in the visual configuration that they get. So once again, this integration is really just an addition on top of basic Odoo and not a way to reinvent the wheel. So the typical workings of Odoo are still respected, but it's enhanced with even more visualization and personalization options to make it a more rich experience for the customer. So that's the backend, of course, and that's a very easy case. But what does Twikit also support? Because I can imagine that not every configuration would have the exact same price. Well, we also have support for dynamic pricing rules. So for example, let's say we add a customizable chair, which is a much fancier chair than the basic chair. It starts out at 140. Let's open it. And basically, we will have the opportunity to basically add different pricing rules for different configurations to allow you to have the flexibility to not lose any revenue if the configuration gets more complex. This is an easy example. If I make it red and I make it a wooden frame and I confirm it, we will see that it's €5 more expensive. So dynamic pricing is also added in the logic of Twikit to allow you to basically explain away all the potential costs of different configurations. So this is basically how it would work in the backend, but this is not the only place where Twikit is actually active. We can also look at the e-commerce, because the Twikit integration also beautifully integrates within e-commerce. So if you would open the website and would go to the shop, we will see that we still have our regular products, like this basic chair, which is a very typical Odoo product detail page. Nothing interesting going on. I can add 2 of them, and this works. But if I would go to the customizable desk again, we will see that the configurator is already fully integrated in the e-commerce experience. So a random customer could just go, configure this table however they like, and add that to their cart. And that would still work perfectly within the normal bounds of Odoo. Another nice detail, even for the customer, it's possible to see what the explicit configuration was that they added to their cart. So that allows Twikit to basically work on the backend sales flow, from a quotation to an offer sent to the customer, to confirming, but also to be integrated completely within the e-commerce experience. And that's not all, right? Because a chair, a desk sounds nice, but how far can Twikit really go with the complexity? Well, we can show you guys. If we go back to the backend and we decide to add a more complex product, let's say the bike shelter, which is a tad bit more complex than a desk or a chair, we'll actually see how rich the options are of the Twikit configurator. So it's a larger product, so it will take a little bit longer to load. But basically we have a complete bike shelter that is totally configurable on many levels. So it's not just colors and basic sizes, but the geometry of the bike shelter can actually change. So we can actually make it a lot wider. We can add the length. We can even alter the height, and it's totally responsive. We can even play around with the panels, right? Do we want a wooden left panel and a wooden right panel? Or do we prefer to put it into a glass variant? These are all possible. Do we want to remove the back panel? These are all options that we have, and it really goes to show you how rich the configurator of Twikit really can be. So you don't have to limit yourself to desks or chairs. It can really go about anything actually. So there are many more options. We can even take away the frame color, add the structure color in green as well, maybe re-add the panels on all the sides just to get the desired result. And obviously, if we save that, we also get the full configuration on the level of Odoo as well. So basically, this is a very interesting plugin because it doesn't necessarily stand in the way of regular Odoo usage, but really just enhances the Odoo experience to add some more rich product configuration for a specific set of products. So as I showed earlier, the normal flow of normal products can perfectly be respected, as well as adding even more options for the backend through Twikit. But that's it basically on a high level. Maybe we can talk a bit more about the steps after configuration, right? What happens when it comes to manufacturing and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Then I bring it back to you.
Yeah, sure. So maybe to step back 1 second to the Twikbot 5 platform. So I think that one of the biggest values of Twikit, and that distinguish ourselves also from other 3D configurator solutions out there, is that we can really link to manufacturing. That means that for every unique configuration, and it can be for the bike shelter or the dinner table, a geometry changes in terms of length, thickness, height, angles, etc. We can link it to manufacturing. So within the graph editor of Twikit, we do not only define the blueprint for customization, but we can also define what happens if a configuration takes place when the product is ordered. So within this environment, together with the product team of the brand itself, with the company, we define the production files. And it can be, for example, a laser cutting file, where we go really into detail. We make it completely custom, where you define where the laser needs to start, where the laser needs to end. CNC milling files as well. So for example, one of our customers today is Porsche. We have a worldwide integration within the Porsche vehicle configurator, where we cater actually different parts of a 911 or a Macan with a 3D configurator experience. And from the moment a Porsche goes into production, we automatically generate production files, going from leather stamping to engraving in the door sill, etc. And also through API, we automatically send them to the appropriate suppliers and production partners within the partner network or in-house at Porsche itself. So, and that's really the advantage of the technology of Twikit, is that we, like I mentioned before, we have a very open API structure. Every company is unique, every manufacturing flow is unique, so we have a software engine that can really caters unique flows from configuration ordering all the way to on-demand and digital manufacturing. Maybe we can jump to the questions.
Of course.
If that's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe just to add, we have some colleagues from Dear Digital, but also from Twikit still running around here at the event for the upcoming days as well. So if you want to reach out, I'm here today. We have, for example, for me, my colleague Jin, who is here available as well. He's actually a former Odoo partnership manager, so feel free to reach out to them. if you want to chat in the upcoming hours or tomorrow or the day after. Same thing.
First question is, what 3D engine is Twikit based on for web visualization?
Is it running on 3GS?
Yeah, correct. So we're using 3GS, and through WebGL, it's being rendered in a web environment. Yeah. However, maybe I can just add it as well. We recently also we developed a live connection with Unreal Engine. So Unreal, which is like the highest standards in 3D visualization, typically used by gaming engines, of course. However, there are a lot of automotive brands like Porsche, for example, that also connects with Unreal Engine to have the highest level of visualization. And the Twikit software, we do not only enable 3GS visualization, but we can also link to Unreal Engine. So it really depends on the use case. For example, for an in-store experience or within a dealership of Porsche, we can also push our configurator into a Unreal Engine visualization.
Is it compatible with Odoo 19?
Sorry?
Is it compatible with Odoo 19?
That's a question for you, for Christopher.
Can you put the QR code back so people can
Yeah,
join
sure.
the pad? Yes, so obviously this has been made with the latest technology within Odoo, with the OWL framework, so it's compatible with V19 as well.
Is it available in the App Store?
Compatible in the?
Available in the App Store.
At this moment is not yet pushed in the App Store. However, it's going to be the case in the upcoming week. I'm looking at our head of IT as well, and to Christopher, but it's gonna be taken up in the upcoming days and weeks. Yeah.
Can you share pricing information?
Sure. It actually works two ways. So first of all, we have a setup fee, an implementation fee for Twikit. That really depends on will Twikit or a partner of Twikit take care of the setup of the configurators. So that's one thing, and it's a time and material basis. It's a project setup fee that we charge. If the brand itself has 3D engineers available, of course that investment can be redundant, because we give a workshop to that 3D engineering team. They're going to use our software platform to set up the configurators themselves, and Twikit operates as a support line. That's a setup, so it's a one-time fee. And next to that, Twikit is a software as a service brand or company, so we work with a monthly license fee. And the monthly license fee for this plugin is starting from 395 euros per month. What does it include? Access to the plugin, access to the TwikBot 5 software. It has an unlimited amount of users that are being able to use the Twikit platform and the plugin, as well as it has an unlimited amount of configuration sessions and saved configurations within that plugin. That's how it works.
What 3D formats does Twikit allow?
3D formats? So we work with the industry standard formats that we use as an input to set up a 3D configurator. So if you have step files, what we typically use in the graph editor is OBJ and STL. But of course, if you have like a step file, which is an industry standard type of 3D data, we can enable that as an input within the system itself.
Can you quickly show how to set up a product in Twikit?
Quickly, okay. Let me go to the platform itself. I don't have any 3D data available at the moment, but I can show you how it works. So within the graph editor, and it should also be recognizable, or like people who are experienced with parametric design, for example, Rhino Grasshopper or Blender, which is quite known in the CAD space. The way we work with a node-based editor is quite an industry standard way of setting up a parametric product. So we start off with resources. So within the resources space, you upload the 3D data of your product, as well as the texture data, because we're talking about materials, wood types, etc. So those are the two input parameters or input resources that you upload to the platform itself. And from that moment, you upload or you drag, let's say, the resources to the canvas. For example, in this case, it's the seat of the chair, you have the table, you have the legs of the chair. And within the graph editor, you have a range of different modifiers that allows you to define that parameterization. So what is possible to customize? For example, we have 4 different colors defined for the seating. For the frame material, we have a wood and a metal type. So it's through the node-based editor, you actually link the different nodes and the modifiers to actually bring it as a result into that 3D configurator, as you can see here. Let me just add one specific feature. So for example, we have 4 colors at the moment. We want to add a white option. So I add white. White is linked to a hex code of 6 times the letter F. And now the result, if you load in the configurator, so we have a 5th color linked to that seed area. There's no icon yet. We still need to link an icon to that specific parameter. But as you can see, in a matter of seconds, we can actually add new colors to that as well. So it's quite intuitive and easy to use. We also have public documentation on how to work with it. We have student engineers that after a few days, they're up and running with the software. So we really focus on usability and a scalable system.
Loading 3D is slow. Are you working to make it faster?
Yeah, of course, it all depends on the resources that you're using. So what we typically do is we optimize the 3D data that is being used to render in the web environment. So what we typically do is we optimize the 3D model. So what does it mean is that we lower it in file size. So we make it a little bit more low poly to make sure that the file size is just a few megabytes max. However, it's finding the balance between how realistic you want to have it in a web environment and about the loading time itself. So it's really finding the balance. However, Twikit, we're in the space for almost 15 years now. We have a lot of experience in that field as well. So we support your team in making sure those models are optimized to run in the browser.
Thank you.
Running around, guys, so if there's any questions, feel free to find us.
Yeah, once more. All right, thank you very much.